So I'm here today to follow up on the first key to times of instability, and I'm now going to introduce you the second key for particular times when we are feeling unstable or when there's been a shift and there is a change going on. And this is a very, very powerful and a very poignant key to be talking about because it is very much related to the change that we're all going through. Now, the first change that we're all experiencing is the lockdown. Okay, the lockdown has had everyone change their routine, their patterns. We're no longer going to work. People are staying at home. People at home locked in all day long with a family, with their partners, or also in isolation. Now, that's what that's going to bring up is a lot of concerns, particularly in relationships. Okay, with oneself as well as with other people. I think it's really important for us to recognize that this time of change is really going to bring a lot of emotions up. Now, the second key, which is the second chakra, the orange chakra, really has a lot to do with these elements that I'm going to be talking about. Now, one of the things I also wanted to really introduce is the key of inspiration, which will really help you around this whole aspect, and particularly this lockdown. There will be other keys which will be also very much beneficial and contributory to your well-being, okay, and your holistic health, which is what I mentioned in the last video in the first key. So with the second key here, we have the orange chakra, as you can see. Okay, I'm pointing here with my pointer. This is where the second key really is. As you can see, it is within the hip area of our bodies, right? Now, how I've been doing these vlogs and how I'd like to bring to help you to manage this time, any time of instability really, and it doesn't have to be unstable, but particularly at such times where things are very poignantly difficult at the moment, I want us to be able to really kind of realize that it's going to have a massive effect on our well-being and how we feel. Now, some of us could have been also going towards the tidal wave of actually feeling emotionally very bereft. Okay, you could have emotions coming out of the blue, emotions, you know, kind of oscillating. One day you're feeling great, and the next day you're down in the slumps. You could be also suffering from a sense of loss, you know, and there's going to be a lot of loss. You know, some people are going to be affecting business losses, emotional loss as well. You know, when we maintain to be busy all the time, we don't often access our sense of emotions or the emotions that could have been actually surrounding us or what we've been feeling. And what could happen is they get blocked here in this sacral chakra area. Okay, it is really important that we honor all the feelings and all the particularly all the feelings and all the emotions that are coming up. You could be also sort of, you know, if you've sort of broken up from a relationship or had a loss of a loved ones prior to all this lockdown, or even over the years, I mean, this could go back so many years, that you might find that actually, you know, that these emotions are going to start surfacing, and you're going to be really bowled over and absolutely surprised as to why this is really happening and why you're feeling this way. What happens is when we really get to stop and get in touch with ourselves, which is really what's happened collectively, we have all been asked to slow down and to stop. And it's really important. And what happens, not so much what's important, but it's important for you to recognize that it is going to be absolutely natural for you to be feeling a tidal of emotions from one day to the next. Okay, and what's very important is to stay stable and to be accepting of your feelings as they come up. Okay, what we're also often encouraged is to stop crying. You know, you shouldn't be feeling this way. You know, dry your tears. You know, especially for your man. You know, you're not meant to cry. All these things. Okay, and even, you know, we live in such busy times that we've not really had a chance sometimes to really percolate and to really process our feelings. So, at such time like this, lockdown, the COVID virus, and any form of instability, change particularly, can really bring a lot of old emotions up to the fore. I was also talking to a friend recently, just yesterday, and her cat recently died, and she was actually sharing with me that she hasn't been able to stop crying which I really relate to. You know, I've also had some emotions from the past, you know, from a breakup, but I haven't been able to actually kind of found that it's recycling itself. I have more time to think. I have more time to be spending on my own. My emotions are possibly coming up for it to be examined. And this time is very much a container for us to be able to actually really be in that. Okay, so if you're single, solo, or living on your own currently, you're going to be enduring the situation on your own. Please do reach out to your friends or anybody who are able to witness you or contain your feelings, and try not to brush it aside. Okay, the thing with the sacral chakra as well, it's very correlated to addiction. So this is another thing that we need to be careful, whether it's being addicted to sex, whether it's addicted to something sweet, whether it's addicted to kind of distractions, whether it's an addiction, kind of overworking at home as well. Some people have taken the work home, or they're working from home and they're probably working a lot more, or kind of, you know, it doesn't really matter. The point is addictions really stem from this sacral chakra. So these things can be really, really coming up. Okay, this particular also, energy point, the chakra point, is very related to relationships. So our relationships will be really up for review. And for some people, this will be a very difficult time. You might find that suddenly you are faced with each other. You haven't got room to actually, you know, you're more constantly around each other rather than going to work and sort of passing by and just having a very quiet dinner together or not saying much. So it will bring a lot of new dynamic into the space. It is very important, if you're in a relationship, that you observe what is happening and be really honorable to yourself and communicate what is going on without being defensive or objecting blame onto your partner, whether it's the male or the female. It doesn't really matter. Okay, it is going to be a very stressful time for a lot of people because, of course, the situation has changed dramatically. It will bring a lot of dysfunction, or what has been dysfunctional or has been existing dysfunctionally and been sort of overridden. So this time could be also very, just to be aware that these things are coming up. Working on the sacral chakra by even just visualizing the color orange and being really clear about your boundaries and your power of choice will really help for you to navigate the terrain of difficulty between the family members or in relating. Okay, if you need to carve some space out, think creatively. You know, you might want to go out in your car. I saw a lady today, you know, she was sitting in her 4x4 working on her laptop, and I you know, asked her, is she there because she needed some creative space, some space away from, she said absolutely. She's got two little kids, they're both under 5, and she just can't work at home. So I'm assuming that the husband or partner or whoever's going to be at the house is minding the child or the children, and she's out in the car doing some work. So this is about working in partnership and seeing how you can both support each other and you get yourself the support that you need. Okay, no, don't assume that people can read your mind and wait for them to offer to help. Ask for what you need and carve the creative space that you need for you to be able to do what you have to do. Really important. If you're going shopping, take it in turns. Maybe one wants to go out, you know, or one wants to be able to have the choices. It's really important that you share the essence of relating and partnering up. Okay, because the sacral chakra also is to do with the yin and yang, the balance of, you know, everything, the holism of balance. So if you're in all the time, you want to be going out. If you're out, maybe you want to switch, going out shopping, you might want to switch it over and stay in. Be noting what your tendencies are. It is very easy to stay with what we know because it's a time of change as well, and such destabilizing change in such a huge scale and such a variety for people. I recommend also you do things slightly, mix things up. It's really important to bring some kind of creativity into your home life in your space. So, and I'm sure most of you have been finding this already, the fact that you would normally maybe have such a strict routine of going to work, or now you're sort of slumbering in and you're not really doing much. Be mindful of how you are treating your days and how you're approaching your days. If you wake up every morning with dread, thinking, oh, now what I'm going to do today, that is the experience you're going to have. All right. So you really want to bless the day anyway. Okay. This is new times, new territory, new focus for everybody. And it's a really wonderful opportunity actually for us to get more inspired in ourselves as well as life. And the thing is, when we do things by rote, go to work every day, go down the same route every day, and get so structured, we really lose our sense of spirit and our sense of creativity. And that's probably across the board. I mean, if you look at children, they're wildly creative all the time. You know, they go from one toy, they play with this, and they go to the other one, and they're busy talking about talking here and then going over there, and their imagination and their playfulness is, you know, so heightened. And as adults, we really lose that. But this is a really good time for us to get back into that creative place. So again, if you're with a family with children, get involved. You know, give it a go. Some families are really much better at that. Some, you know, there's that big YouTube vlog that's gone viral, you know, 4.6 million, about a family who did the Les Miserables singing. You know, I've not actually watched it, but that is a beautiful example of creativity at its best. You know, how I believe they're a musical family anyway, but you know, you can actually get creative in your own way. You might want to dance, you might want to take up painting, you might want to do some model making. Cooking is another one. Okay, you know, these elements are really important. I mentioned last week, not last week, sorry, the last vlog, you know, that the holistic health was really important, and that food is one aspect that we will always need, and it is absolutely imperative that we take care of that within the whole, well, every day actually, not because of the instability, but coming back to the sacral chakra, the food aspect is to do with creativity as well as the color orange. So you might actually want to eat orange foods, and bring a lot of, you know, oranges, permissins, tangerine, mandarins, you know, vegetable wise, butternut squash. What else can I think of? Orange, you know, butternut squash, oranges, of course, you know, classic, if I might have mentioned that already. Nuts are very good at this time. They're very grounding as well, so it really helps. And cashew nuts, you know, the sacral chakra is related to the moon as well. So it's a very emotional, it's very feminine aspect. So this is why our emotions can be really heightened as well at this time. And also to pay attention to our emotions, because our emotions are actually speaking to us. Okay, it tends to be related to the feminine, but actually also, of course, the men can feel it as well. And it's really important for you to engage with that. You might notice that you have certain food cravings. Okay, and again, it's to be honorable, but check in with yourself that you're not reaching out for the sweets, for the sugar, you know, for the sugars or carbohydrates, particularly, and alcohol. These are all really major substitutes for times when we feel major discomfort. And it often is to do with a sense of loneliness, a sense of boredom, a sense of blocked creativity as well. And when we're feeling really uninspired, okay, you know, people tend to live and get into a rut. I am, in fact, bumped into a neighbor, somebody I know locally, who normally goes to the pub, for example. The pub is the bar. And, you know, I'm kind of quite curious about people who did that every night. You know, how are they managing? How are they, you know, sort of, yeah, you know, what alternatives are they offering themselves at this time? This is a really good time maybe to really cut back on your alcohol, you know, or, you know, probably noticed you're saving yourself a lot more money for not spending it so much in public bars and everything. But that's not a bad thing. And as I say, this interesting divine intelligence of the COVID virus, which is now really consuming everybody in the lockdown situation, we've got to look at it from the bigger picture and see it from the fact that this is offering us a new rebirth of ourselves and of the times. Okay, and the more we resist it, the more difficult it's going to be, and the more we embrace it, even if we don't know why. Okay, and there'll be people suffering, there are people who've lost loved ones, and it's not a light thing at all, but it's happening for the collective whole. Okay, so if we even looked at it from a kind of much bigger perspective, the ones who've lost their lives or whatever, they've possibly on a soul level have sacrificed their lives for the awakening of our times. Okay, the structures are being deconstructed, they're breaking down. We can see how ineffective the way the structures, institutions, and the governments have been operating, and this is highlighting the fact. Okay, these facts. But coming back on our personal level, because every person, every one of us, and each one of us has an effect to the whole. All right, so how we operate, how we engage in life, and who we are, and who who we choose to be and how we choose to be is what affects all of us globally. Okay, so it's like the one pebble effect or the one butterfly effect or the butterfly effect, that it is the essence of how we show up that makes a difference. So coming back to the food, yeah, you want to make sure that you kind of watch your cravings and just notice it, okay? And maybe question yourself at the moment, you know, is this really serving me to eat? Okay, and speaking of eating, so like I said, I've mentioned all the orange fruits or the orange colored fruits are brilliant at this time. Anything else would be also, let's have a look. I think there was a list I put out somewhere. And oily fish particularly is really good. Things like mackerel, sardines, anything like that. I'm going to have a quick look at my notes. Of course, the other big one is water. Okay, water is really imperative, and you really want to be drinking lots of water at the moment. It will help to flush your system out as well as keep your fluid and flowing. Another quality of the sacral chakra, very important. Its element is water, so this is why we can be also very emotionally heightened at this time, and it is really important that we keep an even keel emotionally. Okay, you can do that by actually going near lakes. If you live by the river, you know, go for walks around the river, bathing, you know, having nice salted baths, aromatherapy in your bath, that kind of thing would be a very, very good thing to actually keep yourself rooted and stable and feeling nurtured and nourished. Okay, this is very much a nurturing and nourishing key to look at. Okay, so your question should, a daily question should be, how can I nourish myself today? What can I do to nurture myself? Okay, this would be really help us during this time as well, because what also in nurturing ourselves as well, will bring a lot of joy into our lives, and joy is one of the aspects and key aspects also of the sacral chakra. And this is why also I think it's brilliant and fascinating that everyone's been given a chance now to really review their lives and see where they've compromised so much that they don't even recognize themselves, be it in a relationship, you know, at home, or even a relationship at work, or your relations full stop. You know, maybe noticing the ones who are really showing up for you at this time and the ones who aren't. Okay, this is a really good time to discern really what works and what is not working. And again, just allow your emotions to come and go as need be. Now, flexibility is another area to do with the physical body. I am going to do a 5-10 minute recording, depending, I mean, you know, however long it takes for me to display or to do the yoga session. On the last one, I did some drawings and split the screen. But this time, what I am going to do is definitely do the yoga or the movement, because movement is one of these things. Now, again, with emotions tend to come up. Anger as well as an emotion, as you know, sadness is an emotion, but particularly anger, a sense of defensiveness could be really frontal right now and could come unexpectedly. Often it's an indicator, a lot of energy being stifled and is being given a chance to release. So doing some movement kind of practice that are free flowing and much more kind of, you know, movement actually to suit your mood would really help. So, you know, really explore and be creative in how you can actually move, you know, get the music on. And if you're feeling angry, just dance anger out. You know, if you're feeling sort of flowy or I want to cry, then just flow with your movements. But I will display this with a bit of yoga and talk about it a bit more. And so the next segment will probably be the body work, because body work is one of the aspects for holistic health. Last week, I brought in the mind, which we'll talk about, which is to do with the affirmations, your nutrition, the food that you're given, both in your mind and your body, and also very much to do with the space you inhabit, and that's your physical spaces, but as well as your environment. Okay, your body aspect, your physical activity is one aspect, and that's really important. For the first key, I suggested going out in nature, and I still recommend that you do go out into nature every day. You must get out of the house, and you must continue to do your physical practice. And what I'm going to show you in the next segment will something that you can definitely take outdoors as well. Okay, but it can be practiced indoors. And just so for this component, the body movement, I'm going to introduce you only 3 very basic, simple exercises to get attuned and connected to your sacral chakra. Obviously there's going to be loads and a multitude of different exercises that's going to really stimulate the sacral chakra. And just to kind of remind you, the sacral chakra is actually located 2 inches just below the navel, so it's around the pelvic bone, pelvic bowl and the hip joint. Okay, all of this area around the reproductive organs. So this is where a lot of the healing, a lot of the sort of issues around emotional blocks or anger also is stored. Okay, so working here particularly really helps to release, bring us back and reconnect ourselves to our inner truth, take a sense of command in our lives, release the need to avoid and resist change, particularly here because we tend to get very stagnant here, okay? And also, more importantly, we get to flow with life. So to start with, get into this, what's called an easy pose in yoga, just a sit pose, okay? You want to make sure that your sitting bones are nicely firm. If you've got very tight hips or weak lower backs where you're sort of slouching down and you can't lift your spine, you want to make sure you've got a block, a thick book or a cushion just underneath your sit bones so you can actually raise your spine. Okay, very important to have your spine raised. It will get stronger the more you do it. So I want you to close your eyes or just get your inward focus into your sacral chakra. We're going to do what's called the power of 7. So we're going to use 7 breaths to actually, or 7 repetitions. And I'd like you to do that in your own time. And these are just little introductory exercises, and you can just increase them as you go along, but try and achieve at least 7 cycles of breathing or a movement in 7 in the repetition in 7 directions. So just sitting still, just allowing yourself to close your eyes or just come inward and focusing on your sacral chakra. I want you to imagine now the color orange, a bright orange color. Or if you can't imagine the color orange, just intend and be aware of its location. And connecting to this point, connecting to the source of this life energy center. See in your mind's eye for 7 breaths. And just visualizing and connecting with your sacral chakra. And as you breathe in and breathe out, allow your diaphragm to really expand outward. Your diaphragm's just here, breathing in, allowing it to really push out, and as you exhale, connecting deep into your sacral chakra. Be on the 4th cycle of breath. And 6. And 7. And now we've fully engaged and connected with the chakra. I want to keep the focus and the movement actually coming from this point. So imagine every movement that we're going to do now is going to be activated from this chakra in your mind's eye. Okay? Now very simply, we're just going to sit upright, and on the inhale, you're going to tune into the sacral chakra, and then you're going to exhale out. And as you roll down, rotate your spine, curling your body. And on the in-breath, you're going to come up straight again. And on the exhale, you're going to allow that sacral chakra around the hip to pull you backward, creating a C shape, really exaggerating the C shape. And on the inhale, you can use your hands to help yourself upward, lifting the chest and really getting the breath all the way in. And on the exhale, this is your 3rd one. 4, and coming down on the 4th breath. And 5. Now you can speed it up as well in your own pace. You can go. And 6. And 7. Okay, these are just very simple activation. Okay, now we're just going to do a nice circular move. You're going to make sure you're circling around, keep your navel in, and you're going around the hip socket and on your sit bones towards the left hip socket and on, and just keep on going round and round. Okay, we're just going to count now on 1. Just make sure you feel better and much easier doing these possibly in the later course of the day, but if it's first thing in the morning, just be gentle. Okay, you've been lying down all night in bed, and then the hips will be quite stiff. But you find a difference if you do these in the evening. Your whole exercise and the sense of your body will be quite different. Okay, this will be your 7th one. And I've lost count, just keep counting yourselves. And then on the other side, so you just really want to extend forward. Okay, one of the things about the sacral chakra is all to do with flow as well. So you might actually want to put a bit of a flow in, so just flowing down and then releasing up, and then flowing down and then releasing up. But just listen to your body. You might just want to do little gentle circles. Okay, wherever you are is fine. Okay, but if you can really increase the depth of the opening and the releasing, and we're spiraling round, we're not linear beings. You know, man has made everything to go straight, directional, charging forward. Sacral chakra is a very feminine, very flowing, it's an emotional center, and it's water. Okay, so flowy movements and really taking your time, doing gentle yoga is very, very apt for this chakra. So any body work you can do, try and tone it down possibly. Okay, this is about you really tuning into your body. If you tend to do a lot of dynamic exercises as well, if you're feeling up for it that day, do it. But if you're not feeling up to it that day, don't say, oh, I should do it, I have to go out, I have to do it. It's these have-tos that's causing a lot of the problems in our bodies and in our mind. Okay, it's time to start respecting our body. Like, you know, we don't even respect nature anymore. This is where the problem is now. So it is about coming back to ourselves and really listening to our bodies. So the other last exercise we're going to do is just a side bend. Okay, notice I've not changed my posture here. I've kept the right leg, in my case, forward, and my left leg bent. If you're actually very flexible and you want to actually go into a lotus position like so, you can do this whole exercise in this stack position. Okay, it's called the fire log, where you stack your one leg over the other, or you can even bring it in much more. Okay, work with your own abilities, but do not force anything. All right, so from this easy pose, okay, I want you to just again lengthen up for a moment and get attuned to your sacral chakra. We're going to do 7 bends over to the right. I'm going to demonstrate. You put your hand by the side of your hip, you draw your other arm nice and straight but nice and fluid. You're going to breathe in, and you want to try and keep this hip joint down, and on the exhale, and you're going to breathe in, and notice my elbows bending on the left side, my right arm is coming over. Keep pushing the hip down on the floor here. You can actually rotate your hand, and then so you can really increase the stretch on the side of the body, and then exhaling down, just float the arm down and pause, and then in breath and exhale. And we'll go for 2 and exhale. And you want to keep your shoulders open. Try not to hunch in. Okay, keep it open if you can, and exhale down. And for 5. and for 6. And really make sure you're pushing your hip down, lengthen, rotate your hands if that's what you feel like doing, lengthen out and bring back. And last one. And exhaling back down. Okay, so we're going to repeat the whole sequence on the other side. So just bring the opposite leg forward and down. Okay, and then just sit upright for a moment and just check in with your sacral chakra. And just reconnect. After you've done your 7 breaths in this position, we're going to do the rotation of the spine and coming up. We took an inhale before and came down. This time we're going to come from this position. And on the inhale, on the exhale, we're going to swim forward and exhale down. And we're going to swim forward from the hip, come forward as if you're going underwater and exhaling down. And then swimming forward and exhaling down. This is very good for the spine flexion as well. And then here rotating forward and exhaling down. And 4. I've lost count, but then I just keep on going. 5. Really hunching it over and springing forth, bringing a sense of aliveness, and then coming back down. Last one. And exhaling. Make sure your feet are comfortable. Just adjust yourself if you come out of position slightly. And for the next one, we are just going to do the rotation around the hip. We're going to do it in the opposite direction. So again, you can flow, going in breath and out breath. This is 2. Come up nice and straight and then flow and bend down. And just again, just be in your own body. Just tune into your own flexibility or the lack of. Pay attention to where it might be tight in the hips. And as you do these sort of for the next few days, just notice your connection and the vibrancy you'll start feeling around your sacral chakra. We'll just do 2 more. Really flow down. And release, and coming up, sitting upright. Just allow the positioning to happen. Now you can also, of course, improvise on these. You can have your legs straddled and you can do the same sequence going round. Alright, so just really just explore your own body, and I'm sure most of you do some exercise already. If not, if you've never done any exercise, then stick to those 3. If you've done exercise and some yoga before, start implementing some of the hip, more the lower region area, and stimulating the sacral chakra. Okay, so getting your feet back into position, just for the next last posture. Again, you place your right hand this time, your elbow close to the body. We're going to inhale, and then just bending over. Keep the hip down if you can, and exhaling out. And then you can take your eye gaze as well up to your hand, over and arching and looking underneath your arm if you prefer, and then exhaling out. Really stretch, bend the right elbow in, bring the arm over, really allow this part or the whole length of the side of the body, keeping the hip down, keeping the connection of the sacral chakra very active. And 4. And 5. And 6. And 7. And exhaling out. out. And last one. If you feel that you've not done one or two as good as you can have done, always just do another one just to make sure that you've really got into the posture and the flow of the body. So just to end, really, we can end actually on this bound angle pose, if you like. Clasp your hands and just allow the hips to be open and lengthening out. If you find this too tight and your legs are up here, just come into sit pose, the first position, which is just cross-legged, and come back to connecting with your sacral chakra. For those who've got a bit of flexibility and you want to increase your flexibility around your hips, and these are particularly good as well at this time, since we're much more housebound, you know, with the COVID lockdown. It's really good to actually be able to really stretch, open your hips and work with your hips, because we're doing a lot more sitting down and very lack of inactivity. Okay, so a lot of tension will get naturally stored in this area, particularly if we're actually doing a lot of desk work as well. Okay, and then for those who actually started taking up running and walking more and all these other exercises, again, focusing on doing some deep stretch work will be very, very productive and healing for your body as well. So just closing your eyes and just reconnecting to your sacral chakra. Allow yourself to have an inward smile. The sacral chakra is all about pleasure, fun, playfulness. So allow the corners of your mouth to be lifting upward, keeping the lips soft. Ensure that your teeth are not clenched. And lengthen out from the base of the spine, allowing the hip sockets to really soften. Allow the thighs in the hips to soften. And as you relax and let go, allow the tension to be released. Giving yourself permission to enjoy life. Releasing any shoulds and have-tos. And notice possibly when you've just released your have-tos and shoulds that your body softened. Now stay in this position as long as you feel appropriate for yourself. And at home, just put some beautiful gentle music on and get in touch with your own body. Thank your body for all the work that it does. How we take it so often for granted. Our body houses our creativity, our inspiration, our inner knowing, and all areas of self-mastery and truth. Just going to end here. And just allow the playfulness to be available to your life. Okay, so you know, you might want to take up a guitar and start playing that. You might actually want to possibly go out and have, you know, play with bubbles. That's a really fun thing to do, you know, when these bubble things with the soapy water and, you know, fairy liquid, or even the bubble thing you can get. You know, just go out and be playful. Enjoy life, okay? Particularly this time as well. This particular lockdown has really afforded the opportunity, like I said probably already in my video, for us to get really in touch with ourselves. And creativity is one area that has got very badly neglected, and it's a really good time to do that. So get back into your bodies, have fun, do some dancing, you know, also maybe you want to do some hooping, hula hoop. I love hula hooping, I hoop quite a lot. That's a really great one for the hip, okay, really loosening up the hip. Yeah, so I'm just going to end the body work here. So thanks. I hope you enjoy this component, and you've got something to take away with you. And by all means, do whatever you can that brings the motion of the hip work into place. Thank you. Namaste. And just take pleasure in doing anything right now, okay? Because pleasure is another key aspect to the sacral chakra, all right? It's really important. Pleasure, sensuality, you know, really enjoying your food. Again, you know, if you're going to be sharing when you're eating, whether it's yourself or in the family, take pleasure in the actual cooking process of making food. Don't look at it as a chore or something just to, you know, sort of to function. Okay, you've completely deadened, you know, the whole aspect of the nourishment that we can get. And it's such a generous offering that we get from the vegetables and the fruits. So take some time to actually really prepare your food. You know, everyone get involved. As a, you know, if it's a couple, do it together. You might already do that. But if not, then encourage your partners to be part of it. You know, think creatively as well. You know, go back to the kind of, you know, what you really love eating. You know, don't make it into some boring chore or like a have to. Okay, yes, we do need to eat, but why don't you see it as something like a sustenance? It's something you've given yourself nurturance for. All this will help you to enrich your life, and will get you out of the slumps, will get you out of depression, will get you out of maybe feeling negative. Okay, if we engage in life negatively, you're going to get it back. Okay, it starts with you. So it starts with the food that we eat as well. And the other thing also, which is really important, is to sort of maybe say a prayer of thanks as well before you eat. You know, I know we sort of, it's associated with religion and, you know, maybe in some movies or whatever, but actually, you know, taking a moment of grace, you know, saying grace, you know, taking it in turns to share a prayer as well, to thank, you know, the universe source for the food, that we have some sustenance, that we have this food on the table, to be appreciative of what we have now as well. You know, so much has been taken away as it is. Maybe we can appreciate the small things and let that escalate into a greater sense of gratitude and joy. All right, so it's really good. And in doing that as well, you're also feeding the nourishment of the food in a much more positive way in your body. Okay, be mindful of also TV dinner viewing. Now, I'm a bit guilty of that, I have to say. I do like to watch a bit of Netflix and eat dinner, but I do say my prayers, and I'm also mindful. And sometimes it's also quite nice just to sit, particularly as a family and you've got each other. Do sit round the table. I can't emphasize that enough. Share your meal. You know, if you're in a partnership, sit opposite each other. You know, don't do the breakfast bar thing. You know, really sit at a table and share your stories, you know, or share your silences, or share how you feel. Okay, all these things will bring a unified whole to yourself, and you feel you're part of something. We are part of something. Okay, so it's really, really important. So that's one aspect as well that I really want to encourage if you do not do that at all. Okay, so get creative with your food preparation, get creative with your food eating, you know, make it fun, make it colorful, you know, and see what orange foods maybe you can eat, which is also very grounding for this time and also helps with emotions. Now, anything else that I want to talk about? I've talked about food movement to do with change. Okay, because it's a very sensual chakra as well, to do with our relationships, particularly in partnerships. It's a really nice time to be very sensual and sexual together as well. So, you know, again, maybe you might feel naturally heightened to be doing that. Maybe you've got more time and headspace as well, and emotional space, whereas normally it's, you know, we're still taken up by work. So you might find that you're really feeling more or noticing your partner in a different way. If it's actually working in a negative for you and you're sort of not feeling that, you know, maybe you can engage in, you know, sort of practicing a sort of connection, because this sacral chakra is very much about getting connected with yourself and others. Okay, while we have got lockdown, we might not able to actually also go outdoors. Of course we can't, but think creatively about how else can I feel good about myself, how else can I get connected. Okay, maybe reaching out and talking to a friend, reaching out to a friend that you know that's on their own but you've not spoken to them for a while, might be the way to get that connection and step up and make a difference. All these things will certainly add to your enhancement and a sense of stability and a sense of joy and managing this time, which will actually really shift Okay, I don't feel like I really want to mention the word managing too much, but some of you might be feeling that you need to manage it. Okay, wherever you are on the scale of feeling really low about this or feeling completely okay about what's going on, it is all right, but we can actually raise our bar of our, I'm going to want to do a screen share here again. Yes. Okay, I just want to quickly talk about the chakra again. Is it going to allow me to do that? Okay. All right, so this is really what I was referring to. So when I talked about the chakras the last time, this all here is the chakras. Okay, now we all have it, whether we're aware of it or not. It is these spheres of lights that exist within our body, and they get affected in any shape or form, and they get dull. They might be much smaller in the brightness. They tend to spin. Okay, they're spinning wheels. They're known as spinning wheels, and they tend to sort of energetically, at a high vibration, invisible to the eyes, spin constantly. Okay, but when they get dense, it's a bit like just the density of it can really pollute our way of being and our thinking and our operating. Okay, we're looking at the second chakra, so I'm just going to take this layer off and then bring this bit in. So this is really where we're looking at. So this is where the sacral chakra, it is around the hips. So again, the yoga based session would be around the hips, anything to do with the hip and any hip circling. Okay, that's, like I said, where the sexual center is. So it's very important that we keep that vibrant. All right, some of the mantras that we might be able to use at this time as well to really support the sacral chakra would be things like I now flow freely and I'm flexible with what is going on around me. Okay, I am now with harmony with myself, or in harmony with myself and others. Very important. So I'm going to repeat that one. I am in harmony with myself and others, or I am in harmony with myself and life. Okay, which means you're allowing and you're being open to allowing the flow of what's going on. Another one that'd be also really good, okay, because this also could be happening in your relationships when you're relating. He said, I now release any fear or resentments for being controlled by others. Okay, now that could be happening. You might feel like, you know, you're being told what to do and can you do this or you do that? And there's a sense of, you know, sort of aggravation could be building up. So really be firmly clear about kind of releasing that control or the fear of it. Okay, it's up to you to make that choice and to communicate. So I now release the fear or resentment of being controlled by others. Yeah, I mentioned the other one, but I'll repeat again. I flow with life and I'm flexible. Really important. A lot of flexibility. This is why also any movement work to do with flexibility be useful. And there's another one. Oh yeah, the inspiration. Now, inspiration is to be inspired. It's to live in spirit. Okay, so I really would also recommend that you might want to think about how can I be feeling inspired now? So why don't you take action towards things that you love doing? Okay, what inspires you? Again, when I met my neighbor yesterday, in fact, I kind of maybe jumped there and forgot to maybe finish that sentence early on, was yeah, he was stating that how bored he was, you know, that, you know, he just didn't know what to do with himself. He'd run out of things to do, you know, and you know, I didn't say much. I just sort of, you know, wished him well and walked off. But I was thinking, how can you not have that much to do? You know, I've got so much to do. You know, my days are filled with things I really love doing, and I've got this work that I do, which I love. And so I'm constantly busy. I'm reading, you know, so the inspiration can come from movies. It can come from reading a really good book. I really recommend stop listening to anything that's dark, negative, or polluting your mind constantly with news. Give yourself a break from the news. You're not going to miss anything. If you don't see anything for 3 days, don't follow the news for 3 days. Notice how you might feel. You know, in fact, put the TV off. Just don't have any TV. Maybe watch a movie. you know, but really engage, get your color pencils out, get your projects out, you know, maybe you've forgotten what your dreams once were, you know, they were so long shelved out of practicality and taking structure and being responsible, you know, that you'd forgotten how to live inspirationally and creatively. Okay, so maybe a really good mantra for you this time would be saying, I now live an inspired life and I trust the inspiration that comes. I now live an inspired life and I trust the inspiration that comes. Okay, or inspiration is constantly flowing through me at all times and I am inspired. Okay, make your own inspirational mantras. This is a really good exercise for you to really sort of begin to whet your appetite for the joys in life, particularly for somebody who's forgotten what it's like to live magically and joyfully. Okay, so I'm just wondering if there's anything else I really need to cover. In terms of your environment, okay, you know, this is to do with your home right now, since we're really not at work. Make sure again that you have things that inspire you. You might buy some flowers, you know, put pictures up or fix things. If things have been broken around the home, you know, and every time you walk around, you think, oh, I've got to do that. Oh, you know, that needs fixing out. You've got a door handle that keeps them, you know, get these things done. You know, it's a good time to do them. I mean, I have to admit, I've got a beaded, like a mala bead bracelet, you know, that actually really does need beading. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to do that. I'm going to fix that. Okay. So in fact, I might have it for my next vlog, which is to do with your personal power. Okay. The next one has to do with our solar plexus chakra, the center point. So it's very important we hold on to our power at this time as well and get some strength in our minds and body, physical body. Okay, which I will talk more about in the next session. So in terms of environment, again, leave it beautiful, make it nice. You know, I won't get too involved in sort of insisting that your house has to be ship-shape, but it does help. Make your bed first thing in the morning. You know, don't get into sort of laxy-daisy, negative, messy living. Okay, it will actually saturate you into depression. So, you know, good routine, good home keeping is very, very good. I don't think I really need to emphasize anymore, and I hope I haven't missed anything out. I feel like I've been speaking for ages. Anything else? So yeah, so this is really like an emotion, the emotional creative center to do with emotions. Watch for any, if you're finding yourself in a negative situation in relationship as well, just be really clear about your boundaries, okay? And you know, I know that there's some people who could be suffering in domestic violence or in relationships that are very negative and dark. Try and keep your energy level up, concentrating on the sacral chakra also. By all means, you know, for now, do look at other YouTube the sacral chakra meditations and stuff. It will really help to strengthen your power of choice and your power as well, and particularly your boundaries. And I'll be talking about, I've just mentioned it now, but it'll definitely be for the next one as well, because that's really important. And the very thing is, do not fear change. Whatever is going on, this is a changing time. And, you know, I've heard the word, the new normal, being bandied about. There is no such thing as a new normal yet. Okay, your new normal is going to be changeable day to day because we're all making it up as we go along. I guess for some of you, if you've got big families, you might need to put some structure, but try and be more sort of fluid, really. This is such a nice time for you guys to be really enjoying the fluidness of life and flowing, which will allow you to get really in touch with yourself a lot more and feel safer, feel stronger, feel more secure as well, and actually feel the joy and kind of healthier as well. So I think I'd like to stop here because I feel like I've been talking for ages and I really hope I haven't left anything out. But do enjoy, you know, the kind of any expression, artistic expression that you might want to do. Take up some singing, you know, just be joyful. You know, if you can't think of anything that you might would have done, maybe just ask for the guidance in prayer, sort of saying, please show me what it is that I really would love to do. I've forgotten. It's been so long buried. Sometimes we just get so scared actually of doing something that we really like, that it's so deeply buried that we think we can't or haven't got anything creative to do, but that's not true. We're all imaginative and very creative beings, and it's a real opportunity now to be inspired and tap into that creativity. So I wish you well. My name is Rafa, and I'm a multidimensional coach, life trainer, and intuitive life transformer. Thank you for watching. I've had some really, really beautiful comments in my last the first key. I really hope that you got something out of this second key, and do follow me up for the next key, which I should hopefully post up as soon as, because I really want to touch into the personal power one, which is to do with your solar plexus. Okay, and each of these keys, as I explained, are actually very vital for our well-being, not only with what is going on now, but they should be keys that you really implement in your life, and you will notice that you will change, transform, and just feel magically better. And it's only through actually engaging in these practices that will actually make a difference. I will be also posting, and for those who subscribe to my channel will get free access to the chakra healing or tuning up activation meditation or visualization as well, and that is going to be made very shortly, and I will be also offering it to the people who've already just recently subscribed on the back of these new vlogs of how to maintain your stability and your strength, and in this particular one, your creativity during this COVID virus or any times in life. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I wish you all the best. Lots of love. Keep safe. Play. Have fun. And I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Bye.